Good morning, buenos dias, and welcome to Urban Update. I am Alberto Vasallo, and since this is the final show of the year, I finally get to take off my tie for the first time in 360 whatever days. So there goes the tie, because yes, it is New Year's Eve, and let's get on with this final 2017 show. Now, it is show number 53 of the year, as it was actually one of those rare years where we begin the year on a Sunday and we end the year on a Sunday. And we here on Urban Update, we're with you every single Sunday morning of 2017. And in 2017, we begin a new era here at Channel 7 with an even more ambitious task of providing you with the most and best local news coverage. We also began with a new president, a crazy come-from-behind Super Bowl victory, and many, many weekly stories from our community. Now, we reported for you the many ups and downs, mostly ups, of our community on the show, and we had guests of all ages, backgrounds, and walks of life. So at this moment, both Byron and I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the hard work of everyone who works behind the scenes here, from those up in the control room like Ben and Jen and all those folks, to those who work right here on the set like Drew and so forth, and are always behind the camera. So thank you, we really value and appreciate it. So let's get to today's show. Now on the program, some great holiday cheer from our friends from Hope for the Holidays in Cambridge. We'll also introduce you to the best way to make sure your 2018 selfies come out just perfect. That's later on the show. But up first, the Local Relief Fund Massachusetts United for Puerto Rico announced last week it approved more than $1 million to grassroots organizations in both Massachusetts and Puerto Rico to help people on the island after Hurricane Maria's devastation. Now, this is just the first stage of a long-term effort to return life back to normal in Puerto Rico. In all, the fund to date has received just over $3 million in grants and pledges, with more donations urged and expected in the coming months. Now, established as a partnership between the Boston Foundation and the Latino Legacy Fund, the fund is advised by an advisory board of local Latino leaders, public officials, and members of the Massachusetts Puerto Rican community. Here to tell us more is David Morales, who is a member of the Massachusetts United for Puerto Rico Fund, and by day, he is the Chief Strategy Officer for Stewart Healthcare System. Hopefully, we'll talk a little bit about that later. Welcome to Urban Update.
Thank you so much, Alberto.
So glad for you also not wearing a tie.
Absolutely, I took your lead.
Exactly. So how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for having me here today.
This is a great way to end the show because what happened to Puerto Rico, and actually southern Florida, Mexico, was a lot in the news, but we kind of tend to forget, and this is something that we cannot forget about Puerto Rico.
That's correct. We had a devastating situation on the island, millions affected. Keep this in mind, right? We have over 3.5 million people in Puerto Rico, and since Maria has hit, over 250,000 people have left the island. We have thousands coming to Boston, we have thousands coming to Springfield, Massachusetts, and the relief efforts are going to take time. This is going to take a long time.
Yeah, and I think that was the key. This is a long-term plan, and for that, the Boston Foundation with the Boston Latino Legacy Fund really look at it as long-term. Tell me a little bit more about the incredible work of fundraising that has occurred, and kind of the encouragement too, because this has been something unprecedented.
Sure. So look, a little bit of background. First and foremost, the initiative took root from the community. You have a lot of folks that are involved in this effort from the community, from people like Aixa Bouchamp, who's a local philanthropist, Vanessa Calderon Rosado, Juan Carlos Morales, and a bunch of us that got together to say, look, we've got to do something about this. For us, it wasn't just a relief effort, it was an empowerment effort. And so from a couple of months ago, from literally small pledges to now over $3 million in donations and pledges, we're looking at a long-term relief effort to do two things. First one is to help locally in Puerto Rico. Of the million, roughly 2/3 of the dollars we just granted are going to Puerto Rico relief and empowerment efforts. And then the remainder so far going mostly to Western Massachusetts for families that are relocating to Massachusetts seeking a better life.
Yeah, because that is one of the things. I mean, Massachusetts is home to the 5th largest Puerto Rican community in the United States, and a lot of these folks are coming over here to family members and whatnot. So, and I know Western Massachusetts was Springfield and Holyoke. So that's part of the grants. You also have some places in Boston that are getting some funding as well,
Absolutely.
Right?
There'll be funding in Boston as well. What we anticipate, candidly, is that over time we're going to have more people coming here. So a lot of the resources that we're dedicating and thinking about are going to be for schools, are going to be for families that are relocating, are going to be for families that are looking for resources, whether they be food, clothing, etc. So a lot of these efforts and initiatives are now being targeted and planned for the next phase, which is relocation to Massachusetts here.
So for those who have not gotten around the year to contributing, it's still, they could do it today and still be tax deductible, right, for this year?
Absolutely. I would encourage everybody to visit tbf.org/Puerto Rico and make a donation. Do it today. We are encouraging everyone over time to donate as much as possible. This is going to be a $90+ billion relief effort, and it's going to be multi-generational. We're talking about an electric grid in Puerto Rico that was erected in the 1930s that's still functioning on diesel, outdated technology. We're talking about people that roughly 60% are still living without electricity, and we're talking about people that are still having tough issues accessing clean water on the island. Think about it, 2017 makes no sense.
Now, you, like many in the Puerto Rican community, this hit home, right? You had family members and friends that, for a while, you didn't know whether they were okay or not. I understand everybody's okay now, but those were very difficult days, if not weeks, right?
We had a period of roughly 10 days with no communication with our family. We have family in different areas of the island. I was actually traveling on business when I got the call at 5:30 in the morning in Salt Lake City, Utah, from my cousin Mildred Rivera. I get a text message and wow, I lit up and give her a call. Everything okay? And she says, I'm okay. The island's devastated, were her first words to me.
Now, are you planning to visit?
Planning to visit this coming year. We are. We have 2 small children, my wife. We have a lot of family on the island. Yes, we are. We're still sending donations to our family on the island as well. We're actively contributing.
Yeah. Now, David, before we end this segment, I do want to give a proper context. I mean, what you kind of do during the day. It's pretty impressive, and I know we're talking about diversity in Boston. The Globe had that Spotlight series. I know there's an op-ed that you wrote that's coming out. It's coming out this week. But tell us a little bit about what you do, because I've heard you quote saying that there's a Puerto Rican and a Puerto Rican and a Cuban heading something incredible. So why don't you just tell the folks what it is?
Well, no, look, I am very fortunate and blessed to work at Stewart Healthcare System. It is one of the top 5 largest companies in Massachusetts, one of the top 3 largest taxpayers in the state. It is led by a Cuban American, Dr. Ralph De La Torre. He's doing some amazing work both here and nationally. He's also built the largest privately held healthcare company in the United States, and I'm happy to be part of his team.
How many folks you guys employ? Because I know
37,000 employees nationwide, and here in Massachusetts, roughly 18,000.
Now, again, we're talking a little bit about diversity, not to diverge a little bit, but you guys are kind of the only men of color or who have this type of position in Massachusetts, right?
Our organization is proud to be very diverse at the leadership level. We take pride in that, and it's one of the things that makes us unique in Massachusetts.
All right, so let's remind everybody again, where would you want people to contribute? Where do they go?
We want people to visit the Massachusetts United for Puerto Rico Fund, www.tbf.org/Puerto Rico. Thank you so much.
Yep, the information is up on screen there. David, thank you for stopping by. Happy New Year to you and your wife and your family.
Thank you so much,
Okay,
Alberto.
stay right there, because coming up, the details on an annual event that warms the heart. All the specifics right here on Urban Update.